Have you ever wondered how you end up here living this life, or you end up with some of the experiences that you have, or you even end up with the family that you were born into? I have had a deep understanding of this since I've been a child, and it was explained to me probably when I was about 3 by Archangel Michael, which is a different story I will explain in another video. And it's just a knowing I've always had. And I remember explaining this to my parents using the analogy of a dollhouse. I remember telling them when I was about 4 years old, after I returned from a funeral, and I will explain what I understand to all of you. Hopefully this will help you have a deeper understanding of my understanding. And what's interesting is this has been confirmed too for me through people during mediumship readings as well. So I was 4 when I went to a funeral for one of my parents' great aunts. And I remember being at the funeral and everyone was sad. And I didn't understand why people were sad, because I could see her, but she wasn't this great aunt. She was young and vibrant and like in her 20s and beautiful. And I was like, why is everyone so sad? I remember coming home to my parents and I hauled out this dollhouse as a 4-year-old. And I said, why is everyone so sad about great aunt so-and-so going away? Because she's still alive, you know. And I described to my parents what she looked like. And well, one, they were shocked. This is not something my parents ever really enjoyed hearing me talk about, to be honest with you. And they didn't really want me to discuss growing up, and they still don't really enjoy me talking about it. But they knew they had photos of what she looked like when she was younger. And I described her exactly what she looked like when she was younger. I had never seen a photo of her. I was 4 years old. I'd never seen a photo of what she looked like in her 20s. So I described her precisely, even in this outfit that she was in a photo that they subsequently went and had asked about, and it was exactly what she looked like. So that kind of shook them at their core. But I remember laying out this dollhouse. I don't know if it was like a strawberry shortcake kind of house or something like that. But I said, let me just explain this to you. And remember, I'm a 4-year-old, so I'm explaining this in terms that a 4-year-old could use, but I was explaining it too for my parents to try to understand why people don't need to be sad. And I said, the dollhouse is where we all live here. We being everybody that lives here. And I said, not just us in our house, the whole place, the whole world lives here in this dollhouse. Our real home. And I, as a 4-year-old, I only could make it like the sky in heaven. But for simplistic terms, that's how I was explaining it as a 4-year-old. So I held a doll up. I said, you know, our real home's up here, but the world, we all live down here in this dollhouse. That's what we think is real, but it's not. So you don't understand. We live forever and I remember touching my heart, our souls, well, that's what lives forever. So what happens is our real homes are up here in heaven. And I had like a doll I was holding up in the sky, explaining this to my parents, why no one should be sad. That's where we really live. And when we're up here, our souls know everything and we understand everything, because our souls never die. They live forever. And our souls understand everything. And before we come here, we decide certain things that we want to experience, certain things we want to learn, certain things we want to understand. I said, it's kind of like going to school and you sign up for certain courses. So I want to enroll in this, and this. So it's like, I want to learn this, and this is what I'm using more advanced terms now. But I'm telling my parents, it's like, I want to learn this. I want to learn how to read. I want to learn how to write. I want to learn how to do math. I want to understand. I want to learn science. That I remember using those kinds of terms as a 4-year-old. But basically, it's like enrolling in school, and depending on what your soul needs to learn or what you want to learn or experience, it could be advanced graduate coursework, it could be 5th grade, it could be high school. It depends on what you need to learn as a soul to grow and understand more, to return home. But your soul remembers everything. And I remember telling my parents, with this dollhouse analogy being the world, or earth as you will. At the time, I was just saying the world was where everyone lives. I said, and when we leave, you don't have to be sad, because we're home. Our real home is somewhere else. We just come down here to learn something and understand it. And what we live in here physically is kind of like clothes. So our bodies are clothing for our souls. And then we go home. And once we're home, it is love that you don't even comprehend. It is overwhelming love. And it is love with God. It is love with everything. It is love with all souls. It is love with all family, with all angels, with all beings. It is this unconditional, incomprehensible love. And that's where we really exist. And we stay there as long as we want. And then if we want to learn something else, we come back. And so then I remember moving like probably a strawberry shortcake doll back down to earth, and we come back. But we pick who we want to be born to. We pick our families because we decide, we map out what we want to experience. And so I said, I picked you as my mom and dad because you were who I wanted to be born to. So I said, we also pick who we want to come to and what family we want to be born into, because there's something related to that either we already have connections with, or we want to learn some kind of experience through that. And we have to have all these big experiences that we want to learn from as a soul that we outline ahead of time before we're born. The rest is kind of free will. Every little thing is not mapped out in our lives, because it's also part of being a human and being able to choose things, because that's also called having the human experience. But there's key critical milestones that we've already said we want to have or experience or learn from as a soul. And then we take it home. And so I said, that's why I don't understand anyone's sad. No one's gone. They're always with us. They're always around us. They're just also there. And again, being 4 years old, I just said heaven. But I said they can be in heaven at the same time and be with us and love us too. So I don't understand why everyone's so sad. So I hope that helps with my dollhouse analogy. It perplexed my parents. They didn't understand why a 4-year-old was explaining this to them, and why a 4-year-old was not sad, and why a 4-year-old understood that, and why a 4-year-old could explain what their great aunt looked like at 20 years old, in her 20s, or why a 4-year-old could talk in such deep philosophical terms. And I still do that today, even though my family doesn't really enjoy it, unless they're having some kind of existential crisis, or unless my family is going through something, or something unexplained happens to them, then they want to hear from me. Otherwise, like, can we just not hear that stuff? But they always say, well, you're the most spiritual person I know, so if I have a question, I'm coming to you. So it's kind of, my family's I love them dearly, but they're very unique. I can understand why I was born into this family, actually. Um, so I hope that helps you understand why we come and why we have certain experiences. It doesn't mean it's supposed to be easy. And it doesn't mean it's supposed to be fun, but it does mean our souls live forever. So most of us have all lost people we care about deeply. I know I have. And I can't connect with every single person I've lost. And some people I've lost in very tragic ways. And knowing though that I know our souls live forever. And I know this place is so miraculous that it exists. I'm happy because I know beyond anything, there is this other beautiful place everyone is in, and our souls are forever. And there's so much love in this other place that I'm okay with that. It doesn't mean I don't miss the people I care about. Some people I can connect with very easily from my own family and friends, and some people I can't connect with, and that's just called life. But I hope it helps you understand why you may be going through things you're going through, or why you're with the family you're with. It doesn't mean also you have to accept abusive behavior. You don't have to accept abusive relationships. You don't have to accept unhealthy, harmful behavior. Those are lessons maybe for you to learn that this is not acceptable and it's not safe. So it doesn't mean you accept it and embrace it and enjoy it. You didn't sign up to be harmed and to be abused. Children are defenseless, but as we get older and we can remove ourselves from those situations, it's okay to do that. So I'll put numbers down for hotlines for anybody who feels that they may be in a situation that they need help or need to leave. I'll put the crisis hotlines for the UK, the US, Canada, and Australia, and you can always call someone if you feel like you yourself are in a dangerous situation, or you yourself want to commit harm to yourself if you feel you are not in a safe place, because that's not what your soul signed up for, was to feel like you should accept that, because no one should have to accept anything that causes harm. Do want to put that disclaimer in there. But I hope you understand though with why we do go through some certain things, and that our souls are forever. Your loved ones are living forever in the afterlife. It does exist. And if you're interested in what I have seen, I have been shown it actually in 2 different ways. So if you're interested in those videos, feel free to leave a comment if you're interested in hearing a story about how I've actually seen what part of this afterlife looks like, or if you're interested in the story of my experience with Archangel Michael and seeing the light. I'm happy to share that experience with you as well. Just leave a comment below. You can just write Archangel Michael, or you can say, what is the afterlife? And I know which story you would like me to share next with all of you. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.